The closeout is one of the most important skills in the game. It's probably the skill that happens the most often. Think about it. If we play defense 50% of the time, there are possessions where you might have multiple closeouts in the same possession. My name is Coach William Lowe, and today we're going to be talking about the art of the closeout. But before we start, if our videos bring you value, make sure to give us a like. And make sure that you subscribe to our channel for weekly content. Let's get after it. So if closing out is such an important skill, why don't people spend more time getting better at it? Number one, they're too busy trying to get onto ball is life, making themselves look cool. Number two, they go by an old school chop your feet method against no live offense. And number three, their skill development sessions are only by themselves one-on-0 or at best with a trainer one-on-one. Now for more information on how to structure a really good skill development workout, make sure you click this link to tune in. So when it comes to performing closeout, there are a few things to keep in mind. Number one, who am I closing out to? Number two, what are they good at? And number three, what am I willing to give up in order to put myself in the best position and eliminate their options? So when we look at the closeout, we have three different closeouts that we use at Strive in order to describe the person we're closing out to. We call them Curry, Durant, and Westbrook. So the first one is a Curry. A Curry is a pure shooter, and you do not want to leave them open. As a matter of fact, they are so good that you would rather give up a drive and rely on your teammates to help rather than giving them an uncontested shot. At this point, we may give up an early jump so they have to put the ball down on the floor. But a really good Curry shooter is going to be able to get their shot off regardless. So playing against really good offensive players on a regular basis and working on your closeout with them is going to expedite your progress very, very quickly. Number two is a Durant. Now a Durant is someone who can shoot the ball, but we're not really worried about them like we'd be worried about a Curry. We're very happy with a contested shot. At the same time, a Durant can get to the rim and is a very big threat closer to the basket, and therefore we are giving up no straight line drives. Now the last closeout is called a Westbrook. A Westbrook is someone who is probably very fast but has no jump shot. We're willing to give up an open jumper just so that their angle of attack to the rim is much more difficult. So these are the three primary types of closeouts that we describe to our players. So it's great that we have a vocabulary that we can use with players. Feel free to say whatever you want, use whatever players you want, as long as it resonates with the players. But how do we really train this with our team? Number one, in our skill development sessions, we always incorporate defense, like I mentioned before. And we start with one-on-one. So doing one-on-one closeout drills and naming the offensive player is going to be a great start to where you want your team to go. But that's not enough. Number two, we're going to incorporate more players, maybe a 2-on-2 or a 3-on-3 to really test that offensive player, but also how the defense rotates. Remember, sometimes, especially against a Curry, we're willing to give up a drive in order for them not to get a wide open shot. Establishing common terminology is going to be very important for your team to be on the same page. This should be done before the season even starts. Drills should be put in place daily so that everybody is on the same page. So when you go through your scouting report, you know who's a Curry, who's a Westbrook, and who's a Durant. Now we're going to talk about the offensive side of the ball. And attacking a closeout, especially if you're a less athletic player, is a great time to take advantage of the defender's momentum going away from the basket and your momentum going towards the basket. We need to recognize that attacking a closeout and when a closeout occurs is a great time to create advantage for your team. We need to have a mindset of 0.5 seconds decision making, meaning that you have 0 seconds to create a shot for yourself, a good driving angle, or a kick out to a teammate who's even more open. Now, on the catch of the closeout, we always want to think shoot. Because when we have that score first mentality, the defense can feel it and that you are a threat and they're gonna close out even harder. This gives you great opportunity to get into the gut of the defense and create for yourself or for your team. So now that we've established the 0.5 decision making, we're gonna go through 4 steps of the mindset that you have to have when attacking the closeout. Number one is shoot. When the defender can feel that I'm ready to shoot, their closeout is going to be that much more aggressive, which leaves me with more options to either kick it to a wide open player or shoot or get by them because they're closing out so hard. Number two is going to be, if I put the ball down on the floor, it's going to be get to the basket and score. If my intention is always score first, the defense is gonna feel that and they're gonna shrink very quickly. So even if you don't score, there's gonna be opportunities for you to create for your teammate, to get wide open shots, or to create rotation. Coach Rick Pitino always says, think score first and the pass will be there. The third step is, if I'm able to take it to the rim and the defender stops me early, I need to be able to change your directions. So this is where we separate the blue from the red. We teach our players the blue is the ocean and the red is the volcano. So if the defender gets chest to chest with me in the blue area, I've got to be able to change directions and put the ball down to the floor. So this could be maybe a crossover between the legs or behind the back, but I've got to be able to get shoulder to chest with them and get by them to try and get to the rim. However, if they stop me and get chest to chest with me in the red area, I can no longer put the ball down on the floor because the paint is too congested. I can't do it between the legs or behind the back. This is where a spin move, a Euro step, or a different, what we call protection plan is in place to create for my team. So let me elaborate on this a little bit more. So if they do an early stop, again, an early stop is what we would term outside of the 3-second area, we would have to get by them with a dribble move. My favorite personally in a half-court set is going to be a between the legs. Usually behind the back, either if you go straight behind the back, stops your momentum, but at the same time, you don't have a momentum to do around the back. So that's why I like between the legs most. And we're trying to get it so that the defender has to open up again, which makes it increasingly harder for them to guard. Now, if they do a late stop, that is, they are able to get chest to chest with me inside the 3-second area, if I'm a taller player, I prefer the Euro step, okay? The Euro step will allow me to see the basket the entire time and allow me to cover distance. The spin move is also very good, but the spin move, the one thing that's not as good as the Euro step is that I have to turn my back to the defense, and if the rotation is there and the help is there, I might hit them or turn the ball over in that case. If I'm a smaller player, I may not score at all. And this is where something like a back pivot to be able to create a pass for my teammate, to be able to continue the rotation to occur is very, very important. Last but not least, if you're a smaller player and you're close to the rim, this may be a time where it calls for a Nash dribble. And if you don't know what a Nash dribble is, click here to see our previous video on how Steve Nash creates for his team. To be able to be deceptive on the Nash and create scoring opportunities for yourself or your teammate is going to allow you to separate yourself from a lot of other smaller players who just jack up bad shots. So guys, closing out is one of the most important skills in the game of basketball. Again, you play defense 50% of the time, so why would you not work on this on a daily basis? Conversely, since closeouts happen so often, you gotta be able to attack it, but there's so many variations, you need to be able to read that defense no matter what they throw at you. Early stop, late stop, straight line to the rim, wide open shot. You've gotta be able to come to that conclusion in 0.5 seconds. This has got to be a skill that you work on every single day, especially if you're at the high school level. Guys, I hope you really enjoyed this video. Make sure you watch it over again because this is a skill that you're not going to want to miss out and become a master at. So if this video is giving you value, make sure you leave us a like. And if you want to get more content like this every single week, make sure you subscribe to our channel. We'll see you next week.